So what do you guys want to talk about for our 100th episode?
I don't know, maybe all the crazy drunken shenanigans?
And welcome back to another episode of the Drunkencryptids. I'm your host, Matthew Orton. Quick shout out to Dylan over there at blademedia.com. Dylan, thank you for all the hard work you've done for the logo and for the website. It looks amazing, guys. Go check us out. If you want to see what he can do, check out the website, www.drunkencryptids.com. And of course, you can check him out as well, blademedia.com, BLAYED media.com. He does great work. He puts a lot of hard work into his stuff. Let's see here real quick. Let me get some of the shout outs up before we get into everything. So we definitely have a special shout out to my crew, and I'll talk to them in just a second. But we are going to be speaking, excuse me, at the Ada, Ohio Bigfoot Jamboree 2 on October 4th. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be a speaker there. I'm going to be in the family tent. Be speaking, believe it or not, right alongside the people who are putting it on. Cryptids of the Corn. Justin and Jay are putting this on. This is their second year doing it. And fully honored that they have invited me to come on and be a speaker to help them with their show, with their production. It's great. It's a full honor, to be honest with you. Also going to be at the Arkansas Paranormal Expo this October 25th and 26th. We'll have a booth set up. Come on out, come meet and greet. There'll be a lot of great speakers going on that weekend as well. We may have our own little after party at Old Bart's. Just throwing that out there to you guys. But here's a cool thing. This is episode number 100. Cannot believe we made it to 100 episodes. And I want to thank everybody out there, fans of the show, new fans, old fans, everybody that likes and shares and comments. It means a lot. I want to say thank you so very much. A little over a year ago when we started this project, and did not think that 100 episodes seems so far away. And here it is. This is number 100. And I'm truly blessed. And it's not me that made it 100. There was a lot of help support along the way. Jacob, Tommy, you got Chris, you got Tony, you've got Vince, my buddy Travis, Selena. There's so many people, my kids, and just, my family supporting and pushing me to get to this level. This is episode 100. And the cool thing is, for episode 100, I was lucky enough to be able to go onto a investigation of the infamous Crescent Hotel. Todd Neiss is a good friend of the show, good friend of the family. He was given an opportunity to speak at a Rotary Club. They were putting him up for the night at the Crescent, and he got a hold of me, and he said, "Hey, man, do you want to go hang out at the Crescent for a night?" And I was like, absolutely. Linked up with Todd Neiss, had a good time, went on the tour, and this episode is going to break down the tour. And it's, in my encounters and experiences that I had while at the Crescent, and I don't want to spoil anything that's coming in the episode, but definitely want you guys to, listen to everything that's going on, take a look at some of the photos that we took, give us your opinion on what you saw. But, you guys, thank you again. Keep liking, keep sharing. And again, if you've had an encounter, email me, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Check out the Patreon. We are doing a lot of new stuff with the Patreon, and we're going to be inviting Patreon members to go with us on expeditions. So sit back, relax. It's showtime.
Was these two globes. I don't know how to describe them. And I stood up there and looked at them, and it's like,
I just couldn't hold it anymore, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was a chupacabra. I was so excited.
They were referring to Bigfoot.
There are voices in the darkness. The reason why the show is called Drunken.
And welcome back to another episode of the Drunken Cryptids. Y'all know me, it's Matthew Orton. I just want to give a special shout out real quick again to Blade Media. Appreciate everything. You guys, we have a special episode tonight for you. I want you to know this is our lucky number 100. And we're excited to go ahead and be here today. This is also going to be the last week that we are recording at the old tavern, getting ready to relocate and open up the new tavern. That's right, new and improved. The tavern will be there. So we are excited about that. But I am joined this afternoon with, of course, Jacob.
What's up, everybody?
And Chris.
How's it going, y'all?
Y'all know these guys. These guys have been around for quite a while, hanging out, having a good time on the show. But this is going to be something new and different and unique. And I'm going to let them take over for a minute, explain to you how the show's going to work.
Okay, so we're doing a little bit of a takeover here. Matthew took a little venture up to Eureka Springs earlier this week, and we're going to let him talk about that. So the way this is going to go is Jacob and I are going to pretend to be Matthew this episode.
Man, I feel bad for y'all. There's sometimes I have to pretend to be me too, and that's hard.
Oh, I know.
I struggle with that. All right, so let's dig into the Crescent Hotel. All right, so we've already done an episode on the Crescent Hotel. Sammy wanted to do one for her birthday last year, so we did, we recorded an episode.
Yeah.
And she did a really good job of digging up the history and stuff. So if y'all want to know more of the history of the Crescent Hotel, please do me a favor and go back and listen to it. All right, it's called The Crescent. It's like our second episode that we did. And it's right when we first started. So, so I was, lucky enough. Todd Neiss was invited to go speak at the Rotary Club there in Berryville, which is outside of Eureka.
Right.
And they were going to give him a comp room at the Crescent Hotel. And he was like, well, Matthew, do you want to come and, I'll get a double bedroom and stay the night? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, who turns that down?
Right.
I mean, 'cause I made him look at the price of rooms the other day. He goes, yeah, that sounds like fun. Yeah, maybe I'll plan something like that.
Oh, yeah. It's like almost $300 for a room for like a night.
Yeah.
They do a paranormal weekend, though.
They do. They do. I've actually been up to that.
Oh, have you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I wonder how much that cost.
This was like, good Lord, 20 years ago.
Okay, never mind.
So, yeah.
Well, I think we should look into it. And I think we get together with Chumming, with the spirits.
That'd be
And
cool.
we kind of do a joint venture.
Yeah.
All of us together and do a really good job of. And is that Nugget or Dixie in the window with
That's
go
Nugget.
Go.
All right.
Go.
Be right back.
You are muted. Yeah, that was live on show. So yeah, we just watched my dog grab one of my son's chew toys in the window and make sure he's locked up. Thank you. So we lost secret for a minute. But yeah, so I was invited to go up there. Can't turn an opportunity like that down. Had a good time. And I guess we go. It's really unique because the tour guide gave a really interesting, unique perspective on the history of everything, of what takes place at the Crescent, everything. Like, well, I guess I'll just start from the beginning.
Okay.
Okay,
yeah,
so
let's do it.
I beat Todd there.
Okay.
Todd had to go to a physical therapy for that morning. He just, he had shoulder surgery, so he's still going through all that process. So I beat him there, and I went to the bar. Shocker. They have a really neat bar on the 4th floor.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful bar with a beautiful view.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It was great. And, you know me. I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to start visiting with the bartender.
Sure.
So, and me and him, his name was Michael, had a great time visiting back and forth. And he was like, are you here for the ghosts? And I was like, well, yeah. I mean, I run a podcast, and this is what I do. And he was like, oh, and, I asked typical questions, have you ever seen anything, And he goes, man, I've been here for like 12 years, and I avoid the ghosts like the plague. I don't want to acknowledge it. I want nothing to do with it. This is my work. And he goes, but everybody here has an encounter. And he's like, this is where the girl either was pushed or jumped off.
Right.
I was like, oh, wow. I didn't know. Cool. So he's giving a little history, and we got to talking a little bit more, and he goes, yeah, I have a weird picture.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is the first picture I sent you guys.
Okay.
So there's some context to the picture. So as of right now, y'all should be hopefully seeing the picture pop up on, there's 2 pictures. He took 2 pictures.
Right.
And so he said it was when he was first working here, he was chatting with a young lady on Snapchat. Of course, hey, I'm at work, I'm at the Crescent, ooh, spooky stuff.
Right.
And so she was like, oh, let me see. So he was outside. They closed. So the bar was closed, everything was closed down. It was really late at night. He couldn't remember the exact time. I want to think on the timestamp that he showed me. Actually, I took that back. I do think it was probably after midnight when this happened. So he took 1 picture, and ironic enough, he took his second picture.
Good job.
And if you look at the top, the first picture you see is the 4th floor, nothing there. The second picture, it looks like there's a face.
Yeah.
And I sent it to the group and everything. I was like, check this out. So he was nice enough to text me the picture.
Awesome.
I know. I was like, dude, that's pretty awesome. He's letting me do this. And So he sent me, so I got the picture, and I was looking at it going, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And he goes, when I saw it, he said, I had to screenshot it. Because, I guess how Snapchat works and everything is deleted and everything else like that. So, and from there, he goes, he got with the staff, he got with everybody who's on the 4th floor, what's going on, with this room. He goes, there's nobody up there. There is nobody cleaning. There is nobody supposed to be in there because they do a really skeleton crew at night. There's not like maids and stuff like that cleaning in the rooms in the middle of the night. They don't do that there. So, and I was like, wow. But if you look in that picture right there, you can see that there is a face right there in the picture. And that was what was, I was going, well, that's kind of cool. So Todd shows up and, so and y'all see that in the intro video that we just, for the intro, because we got, and so Todd shows up and we're laughing, we're sitting there. The cool thing is that you really can't partake in tobacco products in too many places there.
Right.
But there's a little spot where the employees go, and the bartender was nice enough to tell me where that spot was at. So I just step out, go down, and he goes, yeah, you can carry your drink anywhere you want to go. And I was like, oh, cool. I was like, all right. And he goes, but if you're leaving or going around, then I got to give you it in a plastic cup.
Right.
I was like, well, we're just going to go to a little hidey hole. And he goes, okay. So from there, Todd gets there and stuff like that. And we're visiting. And we're like, trying to figure out what we're going to do for dinner. Ordered a salad there. I was hungry, long drive up there. And the guy goes, you need to go downtown to this one place out. And we're like, all right. So Todd's like, I had to hit my physical therapy. Let me take a quick shower. I'm going to run out. I'm like, all right. Todd runs out, goes down shower. I'm still hanging at the bar.
Yeah.
Having a beer. Being a drunken cryptid.
There you go.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to wander around a little bit and try and get some information on the tour, see what the tours are taking place and stuff like that. And the bartender goes, yeah, go downstairs to the lobby and ask him. So I get down to the lobby, and I wish I could remember her name. So this is your shout out, but I can't remember her name, and I'm so sorry. And I'm wearing, Drunken Cryptid shirt.
Right.
And I'm talking to her and stuff like that. She goes, I like your shirt. I was like, thanks. It's a podcast. I'm in this podcast and stuff. And she goes, Drunken Cryptids. She goes, I follow you. I was like, no, you don't.
That is awesome.
I was like, no, you don't. She goes, no. She goes, you're on Spotify. I was like, yeah, we're on Spotify. And so she showed me her phone. And there she was following Drunken Cryptids on Spotify.
Awesome.
So I met a fan up there. So special shout out to you. She took care of me. She was telling me all about the tour, how the tour works, how this works. And it was really cool. I love being able to, going out and meeting fans. Yeah. And, she was just really neat about it. And the guy working goes, oh, are you on YouTube? Because I don't know Spotify or any of that stuff. And I didn't have to take over the conversation. She ran the conversation. And she was telling everybody, yeah, he runs, yeah, he's on all the platforms. You go to YouTube. And so they're right there looking up the show, doing this, doing that. And I was like, this is really cool.
Awesome.
Fans. So she gave all the details. Todd got done. Met me at the bar. Then went back into the bar and stuff. And he goes, you didn't go to the room while I was in the shower, did you? I went, no, I went down to the lobby, got information. Why? And he goes, well, the sink turned on while I was in the shower. And I was like, well, first off, you'd have seen me because it was a glass door shower, and I would have seen you, which we were both trying to avoid that, both ends. And he started laughing. He goes, yeah. He goes, just while I was in the shower, the sink turned on. And I was like, huh. Now, we were getting ready to go, and I went down to the room, and we were staying in room 211. Okay. And 212 is where the doctor stayed at.
Yes.
And it's rumored that you can, when you go past this room, you will smell tobacco smoke.
Right.
I didn't catch on. I didn't hear any of that stuff really. I wasn't, not clicking in my head what room 212 was. But I remember I had gone down to the room at one point. I heard a phone too. And so when I'd walk past the room, there was this smell. I don't know what it was. Don't know how it was working. Just a weird kind of off smell.
Right.
I thought that was nice. Like, oh, it was that quick. And it wasn't until later when, so I can't say whether or not it was his tobacco smoke. I would love to say, yeah, I smelled his tobacco smoke.
Right.
But it's just one of those weird smells that was just there, so I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
So that's, like the first paranormal thing that happened. We go downtown, we hang out, we went checked out a couple of places, met some of the local people, goofed off, and it got pretty late. And Todd, I was like, you want to go on the tour? He goes, no, I don't want to do the tour. He goes, I know the place is haunted, I'm good. And I was like, okay. And he was tired.
Sure.
You know, he said he had to get up early, go do physical therapy at one location, then turn around, drive all the way over to, Eureka Springs. And so I was like, okay, I hear music. All lies. So, but, so Todd goes to bed, and I go up to the bar, and I'm waiting because it's right across where they start the tour.
Right.
And you're not supposed to record. Not supposed to record. They say if you record, it's only supposed to be like 15 to 30 seconds of recording. That's it. I was like, man, I can't do any video. All right. So the guy's talking, and I was sitting there. I was like, well, he didn't say nothing about audio.
Right.
So I just turned the audio on my phone and set it down the chair beside me while he was talking.
There you go.
And that's where we catch our first EVP.
Awesome.
Didn't know about it. Didn't know anything about this thing at all. We did catch some EVPs, you guys. And I know for sure that this is the first spot where we caught one at. So we'll play it a few times for you guys. Want you guys to listen to it and tell us exactly, listen to what you hear.
And people tell me, I wish I could experience stuff. Be careful what you wish for. It's not always pleasant.
It's kind of crazy, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
So what's fun is we've been playing it for people to see what they can hear. Oh, gosh. You were still muted. I am so sorry.
Yes, I was.
You could have thrown. This is where you had permission to throw something at me.
No, I'm good. I was just listening to you.
So let's back up a minute.
Okay.
So you're at the bar, which is on the 4th floor, and the tour starts
On the 4th floor.
across from the bar.
Right.
Okay. So is there any significance about where the tour started, the room it starts in, or anything of that nature?
None that I can remember.
Okay.
In all honesty, I really can't recall that part. I remember that. I don't know why they picked that room, but in that room they had a bunch of replicas and stuff. Which is really cool. And we'll cover one of them that they have, a blown up image of a postcard.
Okay.
From before it was a hospital, before all the bad things took place there.
Right.
When we're going to cure your cancer, we're going to do all this stuff for you.
Yeah.
Right.
So, from there, so I don't really know, but I know that when we played the sound EVP for other folks, we hear like 3 different words.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to spoil it with anybody. I don't want them to ruin it. I don't want to ruin the experience, So just listen on the comments of what you guys heard, which is cool. And then, of course, we've got more as well. And as of this recording, we're still going through. Tommy found another one, and he's going to plug it in probably either at the end or we're going to do another pause, let him cut it in. And I'll probably do that here later on, as we go. But I know that portion right there is where we got the one EVP at.
Awesome.
So, and the other recordings that I did were down the morgue.
Okay.
So when we get down to the morgue part as well,
Yeah.
we'll set that up. So you guys just wait and listen. So we go on the tour. We go outside. Well, we go, out on the floor. And he's walking us, and there's the one stairwell where people say they feel faint, they get pushed, they do this, they do that. I got some pictures of it and stuff. The group going down, and I was like, all right, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. We get down to the 3rd floor. Nothing happened. They were explaining how the 3rd floor worked, what was going on. The history that takes place, what they do. We go down again. We get to the 2nd floor. And as the guy's talking, I'm kind of in the back of the group. And on the back of my neck, I felt like a bug.
Yeah.
Like there's a bug messing. You know how it feels when a bug's crawling on you and stuff like that? So I kept feeling this bugs. I kept smacking my neck, and I kept looking around thinking there's like a mosquito hawk. Because it was a big bug. It wasn't like a little tiny little spider. It was like a big bug. So I slapping, I'm looking, and nothing. No bug, nothing at all. And they kept coming right back to the same spot and messing with me. I'm like, that ain't cool.
Right.
That's not cool at all. So we go down the hallway, right there by the room. 211 we're staying at, you can tell it's about 212, and no longer being touched. And I was like, all right, maybe I got touched. And while we were doing this, the tour guy was looking at me, and I was messed with the back of my neck. And we'll get to that portion of the experience later. So we go down, talk about 212, but what's really cool, room 218 is where Michael haunts that room.
Yes.
And this is outside the room where I was being messed with.
Right.
So Michael haunts that room, and Michael has a thing for the females.
Yes, he does.
As a matter of fact, that's how he passed away. Mm-hmm. He was trying to show off while they were remodeling. He was trying to show off for some of the young ladies down below.
Yep.
Slipped, fell, popped his head right on the beams, dead on contact.
Yes.
Huh. Yep.
Now, they say that Michael messes with the plumbing, Michael messes with the faucets, Michael messes with everything, and he will give like the ladies full body massages, or they'll be caressed, they'll be doing that, but he messes harder with the males than he does with the females. Room 218 is actually a popular room for the girls to want to reserve, apparently.
Right.
So that when they want to have like a girl party or a girl weekend and stuff like that, they all try and get room 218 so they can have experience. And they say that room 218 is where they all have weird stuff happen at.
Right.
So from there, so that's where I was getting touched at, was 218. So either Michael was getting fresh or, oh no, but something was messing with me.
Yeah, it was the beard, man. He likes the beard.
He likes the beard. Yeah, that's what John said earlier. It's the beard. So we go down to the lobby. We get the history of the cat. We get a history of what took place. Oh, let me go back up there to the relics, fourth floor. So I apologize. So in there, they actually have a postcard sent from one of the girls, and they politely, had sent a postcard home. And from the postcard, they asked for a Ouija board.
Okay.
Yeah, the girls asked for a Ouija board. One of the girls, they said, there's a lot of activity, and I'm going to have this posted for you guys.
Yeah.
I really am. So that way you guys, you guys can look at the picture and everything. But it's an actual postcard, and they're asking for a Ouija board.
That's crazy.
And so, I mean, who asked for a Ouija board?
Someone crazy enough.
I mean, who does that? Who really wants a Ouija board?
Well, you got to think of the history of it, and, depending on when the postcard was from, they could have just been curious to see what they could contact inside the Crescent.
No, the postcard states that they're having activity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one was a women's dormitory.
So
they want to get hold of Michael.
Yeah.
They're having activity, and they decide, let's open a portal or a doorway for this activity with the Ouija board.
It's like the 1800s, man.
Yeah,
they don't know their portals. They don't know none of this stuff. They're thinking this is like the cool, latest and greatest little thing that's going on, and this is a popular thing to do, and let's all get Ouija boards. And remember, they're doing seance shows back then,
right?
And they would have like the little tricks and everything set up. They'd all be doing seances, and so there was a phase everybody was going through, I guess. I don't know, but I'm not going to touch a Ouija board.
No, not at all.
No Ouija boards around
Not
here.
even going to be in my house.
So, but the picture of the postcard will be there, and it's in the old school cursive handwriting. So looks like a doctor's handwriting, obviously. You can't read a doctor's signature. That's kind of what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, so we go through the lobby, and then we go to the lovely basement, the morgue. And we go in a little room, and the tour guy was great. Ollie, his name was Ollie. He was a great guy. I highly recommend, if you have anybody do the tour, you want to have Ollie do the tour for you. Very, very, very knowledgeable on the Crescent. Numerous encounters she's had. He messes with them.
Awesome.
And while we're doing the tour, he's messing with them. Kind of call him out a little bit, but not, no, did you touch me kind of way.
Right.
Call out. You know what I mean? We're not all demons around here.
Right.
So he calls him out too, actually. Because you got to remember, there's a lot of shows that have gone through and done, an episode on the Crescent Hotel.
Right.
And, he said one, and he would not mention any names.
Okay.
But one of the stars asked to get a laptop out of his room, and it was in 218, and he could not open. No, not 218. Was another room up there, and he could not open the door because of something was stopping it. And then all the luggage was pushed up against the door.
Right, which they actually showed on that episode.
So you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Without mentioning any names, but he said that guy refused to go back up anywhere alone after that.
Huh.
Yeah.
He's on a show.
Yep.
That investigates spirits. Well, we'll call it spirits.
Well,
he has an encounter, and
he's getting
refuses...
paid. He's getting paid to be on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's not one of the guests. So he's not the host. I should say.
He's being paid to do this for a living, and he has what I think is a pretty cool encounter, and refuses to go back up.
So that room though.
I'll take his job.
I know. No, we'll have our own show. So what was cool though about that room? Look at now, memory kicking in. So I wanted to do this as soon as possible.
Right.
So that way everything's so fresh.
Yeah.
So that room, and I can't remember the number, but it is the third or second floor. the lady in there, so there was a married couple, and they showed up there, and they were about to get married, and they had a room together. It was a long time ago. And the couple gets into a fight in the room.
Okay.
I mean, the fight is so loud, everybody on the floor can hear them fighting. They're all duking. I mean, they're yelling, screaming. They storm out, wedding's off, everything, and then they get back together, and I love you, and, all that good stuff. So the wedding is back on again. All their luggage and everything is packed up and leaning against the door.
Somebody wanted them out.
So either the fact that they were arguing in the room and wanted them out, or during the time frame because they weren't married yet and they were in a room together. You know what I mean? She wasn't happy with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Different times.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, to the morgue. So we get to the morgue. That's where everything fun happened at. And of course, where I sat at, the guy goes, I'm glad every time somebody sits in that chair, I'm happy. Because that's where I saw a shadow person.
Awesome.
I'm like, I'm in the right seat then. Come on.
Yeah.
Because, my theory on shadow people. So come on, bring it on. And nothing in there at all. I got some good pictures, took some pictures while he's talking. And then he shows us where they found the jars at. So what's really cool is they found these jars of parts.
Okay.
So it was like either Gardner or somebody was digging, and they started uncovering these glass jars. And they were like, so the first thing they did is they contacted the Eureka Springs Police Department.
Right.
Eureka Springs Police Department went, no, not our problem.
Right.
Not our problem. So the hotel reached out and got a hold of University of Arkansas. And they sent an archaeological team out there to uncover everything. And they did sample some of the jars. They were able to open some of the jars, sample, and it did human stuff and everything. There was human DNA and everything in there. But, if you look at these pictures right here, you see I got, like, the one jar, if you look close, somebody... And again, this is all allegedly, because people go on tours all the time, and all he said, he had doctors come through, and they say, oh, that looks like lung tissue, or that looks like this, or, that looks like that. And there's some jars that actually had the same consistency, and this kind of a green stuff. They believe that might have been the medicine that they had created to cure you of cancer.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from in there... And inside that area, they had a skeleton. So, my affiliation with Willie and Lloyd.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to get another one soon. I had to get a selfie with the skeleton. So, there's my little selfie with the skeleton right there. Hope y'all enjoy that one. But anyways, so from there, when we go into the autopsy room.
Okay.
So now you've done the tour, haven't you?
Long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago. I think the Crescent's been through a couple of remodels since I went through it. So...
But it's all still the same.
Yeah, behind closed doors, it's all the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all still the same. I mean, there's some, cosmetic stuff that have been changed and altered.
Right.
But because they were going to tear it down.
Yeah.
And turn into condos. Yeah, they're going to tear. Can you imagine living in condos right there? I mean, it's a beautiful spot for condos. I'm not going to lie.
It would be. But you talk about so much poltergeist that probably would go on.
I mean, yeah, you're going to have so much activity.
Oh, I know.
That...
As soon as you mentioned they're going to tear it down and build condos there, I was like, no.
They're here.
But this couple came and bought it. They're like, no, we want to preserve it. They love the history of it, so they want to take care of it. And that's what they did. So we walk out, we go in the autopsy room, and I'm standing in the back corner, and there's a little short hallway, probably 5 feet behind me, exit door, and he's talking. He's telling us, the history, and he goes, yeah, and that's the drain. And there's always somebody standing on the drain.
Always.
As soon as you mention, that's where the waste would flow down. And the lady standing, she immediately jerked her foot back. And I chuckled. I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I am running some audio at this point in time. Because, again, not everything can be an EVP. It can be some ambient noise as well in the background. But, I know on the first set, that's clearly an EVP.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But, I definitely want to hear y'all's comments. Okay, so while we're standing there, I hear a noise.
Okay.
Come directly behind me, where that exit sign's at. And I look at the people standing beside me, and I went, we all heard that, right? That's exactly what I said. We all heard that, right? And the guy goes, oh, I heard it. So I turn around, take 2 pictures. Boom, boom.
Is that behind the hallway behind
That's the hallway behind me with the exit sign. So if you look, at this picture, you guys, right? Tell me what you're seeing, because I'm looking at, it's not an orb, and it's not lens flare. And so the reason why I'm saying I definitely go with no lens flare is because where the light bulb is at. If you look, you can see it's below the light bulb, right parallel to the exit sign.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I didn't see this with my eye. I didn't see this when I took the picture. Okay, because I'm taking 2 pictures, boom, boom, right? And again, we had just heard a noise. I mean, it was a distinct noise. I had walked down the hallway, though, after I took the 2 pictures, tried the door, pushed on the door to see what I could maybe get out of it. You know what I mean? And I came back and we told the guy, he goes, there's nobody working. The laundry room was on the other side. It's shut down for the night. In the summertime, it runs late.
Sure.
He said, but we're not in the tourist season right now, which is obvious when I went downtown. There's nobody down there.
Right.
There's, not every room was full. There wasn't a packed hotel at all. And it was a weird metallic noise is what it was.
Okay.
It was a weird metallic noise. So, but that thing there, it's not an orb.
No.
It's not a dust particle. It's not your orb. And I'm using my fingers in quotation marks here. It's not an orb.
Yeah.
It is something that just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is.
No, it's a really, really cool photo. And now there is lens flare in the photo. We will admit there's lens flare. Me doing what I do for the team here, I put it into some of my editing software, and I adjusted the contrast, the brightness, the sharpness, the black points, all the photography stuff in it. And you can enhance the lens flare a lot in it. But where the lens flare is coming from is that first bulb. It's not coming from where we see...
Not the bright one.
Right,
Yeah.
Correct. It's not what we're going to call an anomaly. It's not coming from where the anomaly is. It's coming from that first light bulb. Because if you adjust enough, you can actually see where the lens flare is coming from.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the edited photo I sent you.
And if you look at too the other pictures, you clearly see where the lens flare is at.
Yes.
Clearly see it in the lights.
Yes.
You see streaks.
Yes.
This isn't a streak.
No.
This is not any. No, this is not a streak. This is none of that at all.
Right.
And that's what got me. And now I didn't see the picture until the morning.
Awesome.
So, when I was done, I was like, I got that morning, went outside to have my cup of coffee. Because y'all remember, y'all got it first thing in the morning, remember?
Yeah, we did.
I was like, oh my gosh. And I was scrolling through, and I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
I'm sitting out at the Pearl having coffee going, what is that?
Yeah, we got all these pictures at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
I was stoked. I was stoked. So, all right, so we're not done yet. So we get that. Tour's over, and I got lucky enough. Me and Ollie went upstairs, and we sat outside the lobby in the back area, and we talked for an hour and a half.
Awesome.
And going through the history, just had a good conversation. I was trying to get him to come on the show and talk about everything that he's encountered, what he's done. And I don't want to share down his stories without him talking. You know what I mean? Because I feel like I would do a discredit to him.
Yeah.
Right? And, and he was okay with that. So, and I don't want to, but you guys, if you get a chance to meet Ollie when you go on the tour, you go up there. Ollie was great. He calls himself the conductor.
Awesome.
Because he works on the trolleys and the trains and everything else like that. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. Good time.
Yeah.
So he leaves. He goes, man, I got to get home to my wife. It's late. I got to get home.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sorry I kept you. I get it. I'm just kind of wired up. That was kind of cool. Yeah. I'm in my element now. This is great. But we talked about the one thing is that, I told you guys I felt off in Eureka.
Yes.
But I felt okay at the Crescent.
Yeah.
Feels the same way.
Really?
Yeah.
And he lives there.
Yeah. He goes, yeah. I feel the same way. He goes, I go downtown and I feel like no matter what you're doing, it's just not right.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who love Eureka, and Eureka's a beautiful town.
It is.
Gosh, absolutely gorgeous town. I mean, when the weirdness goes away from you, you feel like you could live there. You're like, I could kind of retire. Then the weirdness comes back, and I'm like, oh no. Because remember, the Native Americans would not go to that area.
Right.
They would go visit, they would do a ceremony, then they leave. Leave it to the white man and move into the haunted area.
There you go.
Let's not listen to the natives. Bad juju over there. Don't go. What does sellers do? We know more than you do. That's how generally most stories are encountered. We know more than you do, and that's where the bad stuff happens. So he's done. Now, while we're talking, there's a couple young ladies. There's 3 young ladies that were on the tour group, and they were running around out back and had their cell phones on. Well, they weren't running, but they were walking around with their cell phone lights, flashlights on. I'm sure they were looking for ghosts.
Sure.
But you're at the Crescent. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Right.
part of the appeal of it. So it didn't bother me at all. So I just saw them outside. Go inside. Ollie leaves. I'm standing around checking it out, and I'm standing right beside the crystal room.
Okay.
Crystal ballroom, right? And in my peripheral, I see somebody walking. You don't know this part, do you?
No.
Ha! In my peripheral, I see somebody walking.
Okay.
Right? And it's on my right side. I turn my head and I catch them. The very end. They're wearing tannish brown outfit.
Okay.
Right? And it was just enough for me to catch them as they went out of my field of view. So I had eyes on them. I literally, not my peripheral, I had turned my head and caught eyes on them as they went. They were going from right to left. And as soon as they got right to the left, out of my sight, they were out of my sight. My first thought was, I bet the girl's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, the doors are wide open.
In the ballroom.
In the ballroom.
Okay.
So I walk into the ballroom. There's nobody in there.
That's awesome.
I got pictures. I took a couple of pictures of where I walked at, right? Backed up, took another picture of the entryway, and I was going, I just saw an apparition. That's kind of cool. That's so cool. And like I said, not freaked out, not weirded out.
Right.
So that ends the night.
Okay.
All right. So that morning, get up, go through the pictures, like I was saying, sent to you guys, trying to figure out breakfast. Todd was already eating breakfast, so I was like, I'm going to go shower. So I go shower. Now, I'm a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
I know how to shower. Okay. I turn the water on, get the water adjusted before you get into the shower, right? Do you know the story? Okay. So I get the water adjusted, so I know what's going on. Yeah. I get my clothes ready, get my stuff, and everything else like that. Water's running. Check the water again, because, again, I'm a 50-year-old man. I know how to shower, right? If I don't, we have problems. So I jump in the shower. Water's happy. I'm having a good time. Good water pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of water pressure, by the way. A lot of water pressure. And shampoo, got my body wet, shampooed my hair, right? Rinsed my hair. So I've been in the shower for a few minutes. Was reaching in front of me where they had the conditioner and the body wash and the shampoo at. And I was getting ready to put conditioner in my hair. Yes, I like to condition my hair. I don't care what you say out there. The ladies like it when your hair's soft. So get ready to condition my hair. And I can feel the temperature of the water hitting me, getting hotter and hotter. It was scalding. It left a giant red circle. I mean, I'm freaking out, almost screaming.
Yeah.
I pulled an Ace Ventura, against the side of the shower, screaming, trying to grab the shower nozzle, the water, to turn it off, to do something. Finally got the water off, right? Dry it off. And I was like, F you. You know what I mean? And I said that loudly in the bathroom. F you.
Yeah.
Because I pretty much know what's going on at this point in time. Hello, Michael. And adjusted, got the shower back up and quickly soaped up and got out. And that was my experience at the Crescent Hotel.
Awesome. So, I mean, it brings up a lot of questions.
It does.
Honestly. Tons of experiences. I've been documented at the Crescent. I've had experiences myself.
See, I've
there.
never been to the Crescent, so I don't know.
We can change that because there is a Jeep weekend coming up in September.
Ooh, I might have to join you guys.
Just saying. So, I mean, even if we don't go up for the full weekend, we could go up for the day.
I'd
Give
be
us an
down for
excuse
that.
to drive the Jeeps up. My experience actually happened in the Crystal Ballroom.
Okay.
So when I went, the Crystal Ballroom was closed because it was wintertime. We went up for a friend of ours' birthday party. We actually stayed in the suite that Michael allegedly fell off of.
Okay.
And we had some experiences. We had stuff moved. Me and one of the other people that went, we decided to leave early.
Okay.
Because we weren't feeling it. There was some there was some evil stuff going on. Honestly, like just felt like somebody was watching you the whole time you were there. Like Michael was, or like Matthew was describing out in the town. This happened in the suite.
In the suite.
In the suite, yeah. So we went out. We walked around looking for ghosts, like you do when you stay at the Crescent.
Of course.
My experience in the Crystal Ballroom, I said it was wintertime, so half the hotel was shut down. And we're standing there talking about the Crystal Ballroom, reading the little sign outside the door on it and everything. And we look in, and you can see one of the chandeliers swinging.
No way.
In the Crystal Ballroom. Like, this place is practically empty to begin with, so you know it's not somebody walking around upstairs causing it to swing. We get back up to the suite. One of the exterior, so when you get to the corner suites at the Crescent, there's walkways out there for the maintenance people. The door was open that leads into the room from the walkway. Again, it's wintertime. They're running a skeleton crew. So that's when me and the other person I was with were like, we're going to give this a shot. We're going to try to get some sleep. We got about 2 hours of sleep, and we noped it out of there, drove back to Fayetteville.
I couldn't sleep either.
Yeah.
So then I could not sleep.
Yeah,
I could not sleep. There was one point I'd woken up and I fully expected to turn my head to see somebody standing at the foot of the bed.
Yeah.
There was nobody there.
Right.
But I fully expected that to be there. And again, but part of that too, though, is, okay, so let's go through and let's be honest here. All right. On any investigation, we've talked about this before, live shows.
Yes.
If I tell you, right, and I'm going to look at your daughter because she's hanging out with us right now.
Yeah.
If I tell you that my house is haunted, okay, and I tell you that, your dad tells you that, Jacob's telling you that, everybody around you is telling that my house is haunted. And let's say it's about 8:30 at night, and we're all outside the tavern like we normally are, and you decide to go to the bathroom. There's nobody in the house, and you hear a weird noise, the house settling, your mind goes to what? It's haunted. Mm-hmm. That was a ghost. Okay? So when you put yourself into a situation to where you believe somewhere is haunted, you're automatically going to make everything haunted.
Right.
So that feeling of me waking, expecting to see some at the foot of the bed, I fully believe was a fact of the matter because I knew that I was in the Crescent. I knew it was a haunted location, and I was creating that scenario for myself.
Right. Kind of amping yourself up, getting your brain ready for what you may or may not encounter when you're
subconscious.
there.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's why it's where, other things, so I mentioned, like, the smell by 212. I can't confirm whether that was him or not.
Right.
And I'm not going to either.
Right.
But I will tell you, the apparition that was in the crystal room, that was real. That was 100% real. That was not my mind making that up
you told
at
me
all.
yesterday about
Yeah,
that.
and then, the touch on the back of the neck, again, not even because Ollie even said, he goes, I saw you, you kept missing. I said, I thought it was a bug. He chuckled.
Yeah.
He was the one going, no, you're really being touched. He goes, it happens. He goes, there's not one group I don't have where somebody's actually getting touched. And he goes, and you're not here to actually I was like, I'm here to experience the Crescent, not debunk it, not prove it. I'm here to experience the Crescent, see what it is.
Yes.
And it's, I hate using the term bucket list because that means you're going to kick the bucket, and I don't want to look at it like I'm going to kick the bucket. So this is like a to-do list.
Yeah.
So the Crescent has been on my to-do list, right? So ta-da. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, so that's one thing I do want to, keep people in mind of when you go to these places and it is haunted. That EVP was not made up.
Right.
Those sounds are not made up. So there's that. But you mentioned the Jeep event thing.
Yes.
And I was looking into that one, and it's September 11th, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yeah, I think I get the kids or something like that. And I debated on going up there for it, but again, I would love to.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people.
Yeah, and we can figure out when the best time for us to go and do some paranormal cryptid stuff up there would be. As I told you on the phone the other day, I now have connections in Eureka.
Even better.
Family connections in Eureka.
Even better.
So we actually may have a couple of local tour guides who have nothing to gain from showing us around. And now one place that was suggested that we go look into is the Basin Park Hotel.
Yeah, I heard that.
Well, I walked past that.
Okay.
I did walk past that because we went to Chelsea's and we went to New Delhi.
Okay.
And then we checked out like some of the fountains, the springs, and everything. Well, that was kind of cool. I got a really cool animation thing of Todd playing with the water.
Yeah.
It says, "Don't touch the water. Don't drink the water." There's two army guys. I mean, you tell us not to touch something, and we're gonna be like, why? I mean, Todd, I love you, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Todd had a good time. We were laughing and goofing off, being silly, and just being two old army guys. And the funny part about it is that two Bigfoot researchers go paranormal hunting.
Yeah.
And I try to call him out. Come on, dude, we're supposed to be here paranormal hunting. And he goes, no, the posse. He had enough. He was done.
Yeah.
He was done at that point. But again, too, though, people are like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Justin from Cribs of Corn, he will go nowhere haunted as we took him to Four Quarter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, yeah, this, and he's like, I just like sit back and just burn it down. Burn it down. I don't want nothing to do with it. No hauntings, none of that, nothing. Because he's had encounters.
Right.
And it, That's how certain people are with these encounters, and I respect that.
Yeah.
100%. You know? What else you got?
I'm trying to figure it out. So, you said you saw that apparition in the
Crystal Ball.
the crystal ballroom.
Yep.
So you said he was dressed in tan clothes.
It was tan clothing, and I would like to know what they wore.
See, so my question, what era did you?
Couldn't tell.
Could it tell? It just happened so quick.
It was. You know when you see somebody and they just walk by, and you know you can kind of give a description. Well, you know, because what stood out to me was just the tan clothing.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell whether it was male or female. I couldn't tell you like shoes or anything like that. But it was enough for me to get eyes on that figure before they were out of my view.
Yeah.
Now, are we talking like a shirt and pants, or like a one-piece jumpsuit?
Like a one-piece jumpsuit.
So almost like a workman's jumpsuit.
It could have been like a worker's.
That or a brown suit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, huh.
But you know, so of course, you guys know my theory. I think Arkansas is probably one of the most haunted states there is.
Oh yeah.
And the reason why is because of the quartz and the springs and everything that we have here. And I do believe that it traps the energies. And I think that I don't think it was a full blown, like a ghost, like going, "Hey Matthew, what's up? How you doing?" No, I think it was an actual a residual. I think a lot of the stuff that happens at the Crescent is a lot of residuals. I really do. Now there may be some intelligence to them. A lot. Even the tour guide believes that there's some intelligent hauntings that go on there. And and I was just like, well, like Baker. Baker died somewhere else,
right?
And they believe that he haunts the Crescent because he loved Eureka Springs.
Yep.
He was a shady dude. Let's be honest. I mean, not a nice guy at all. And what he did was completely and horribly horrible. But he loved Eureka. He loved the Crescent Hotel. That was his baby. And that was his moneymaker. So they believe that his spirit is there. And maybe that's his punishment, being trapped there.
I was just thinking that, with everything that he did, you got all these people coming to him for a cure for something that can be incredibly painful and just racks your body with everything you can think of being sick. And they go there for a cure, and he gives them whatever it was that he was giving them.
Yeah, he died of cancer too. That's isn't that karma?
Oh, yeah.
So what he would do though is so if they knew they were going to die, right? He knew they were not going to make it. They would write a letter home. Hey, your family member's good to go, and all right, put them on a train, ship them out, and they would die on the train.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Oh, well, they didn't die here. I don't know what happened. Maybe it came back. I don't know."
That's some messed up.
And he did that.
Yes, and he was
countless times.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
That's horrible.
And not only that, too, though, but you got to remember, there is no accurate number of people who died in the hotel. None.
You're true. Yeah, there is no accurate number.
They think it's around 40.
Okay.
Is what they think. They think it's around 40 people due to, which is a small number compared to some of the other, like, sanitariums and stuff like that that we have out there, So it is a small number. But again, too, though, with that much energy, that much emotion, everything taking place with, the springs and the quartz and because you can't dig anywhere in Arkansas without finding quartz.
Right.
You're not, seriously, it's like,
yeah.
It's like, when, God made, the planet, and he goes, well, what do I do with all this quartz? Boom. Right there in Arkansas. So, well, the future Arkansas. But, it's just a fly. I know we talk about this stuff, it gets a little jumpy sometimes. Just a fly.
So, and one thing that a lot of people need to understand that maybe aren't from Arkansas, not familiar with Eureka, is it is, I'm going to call it a hub for people that practice Wicca, witches.
Yep.
At one point, they had a mayor, I'm not sure if he's still a mayor, who was a known warlock.
I don't know if I think he is out.
Okay, but he was the mayor of Eureka.
Yeah.
So, and you walk around the town, and there are tons of shops that specialize in the occult. So,
yeah, I saw that. I'm not gonna lie, I saw that, and one, you're right. And if you're gonna have an area that, like Hot Springs has a lot of that too.
Yes.
Which is ironic. So if you have an area where a lot of this is taking place, that's a lot of portals being opened, not being closed properly, people do move to both places. Not everybody now. Some people do move these places so they feel like they're free to, practice some of these.
Yes.
And again, too, that's your prerogative. By all means, just be careful. My feelings on it. I mean, you listen to the show long enough, you already know how I feel. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, that's what we got going on there. So that was a Crescent, though. So since a show takeover, and this was one of Chris's ideas. So since this is show take over. What else you got for me? Don't you love when I put you on the spot?
Do we want to stay with Eureka?
We go where you want to go.
Okay. Well, so tell us your overall impression of the Crescent when you first walked up to it.
Ooh, that is a good question.
So I fully expected to have like a Shining impression.
Sure.
None of that.
Right.
None of that. I felt like I was walking into a hotel.
Okay.
No lie. I mean, there was none of, with all the hype and everything. Mm-hmm. But I think part of that too, though, is what we do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's what we do, how we do it. We know. So I try to get the ghosts out of my head. It's a haunted place. I was excited to be, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm at the Crescent Hotel. This is like, a dream come true. This is, a haunted hotel. How cool is this?
Yeah.
And Amy called Samantha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made it. I'm here. What's going on? Mm-hmm. And she was all excited. And I hate you, Dad. She didn't really say I hate you, Dad. She was jealous. But, it wasn't bad. There was, I got nothing malicious the whole entire time I was there. No, the only weird stuff I got was in Eureka.
Yeah.
Just the city itself.
Just the city itself. And when we were walking around, because they have an awesome shuttle service, they'll take you from the hotel and take you downtown. They'll come pick you up too. We got out and just walking around. I was just like, this feels like a ghost town.
Yeah.
And there's nobody out. There's no tourists out. There's none of that. So we're walking by storefronts that are closed. I did get a cup of coffee at one place that was pretty neat. Can't remember the name of the place, but right there by one of the springs. Got a cup of coffee. We walked around. I'm checking things out, and it just felt. That's where I felt off. To where the feeling that I felt in Eureka is what I expected to feel in the Crescent, and instead it was flip flopped.
Okay.
With everything that transpired happened in the Crescent, none of that felt like it was malicious. But now Eureka, on the other hand, that felt completely off.
Right.
And with the tour guide telling me, Ollie's saying the same thing. He feels the same way. To where, like, Todd, he was like, man, this feels like, we're walking down Bourbon Street in New Orleans or something. And I was like, okay. I didn't get that vibe. I got other weird vibes out of there. But, it was, like I was texting Todd, the musicals here. I was messing with him. I was like, hey, man, that's where I'm at. Sent, pictures and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, man, like, yeah, you're going to have a good time. And this is before the tour.
Yeah.
So someone's like, you knew. I'm going to have a good time.
Yep.
And I did.
There you go.
Because I love that stuff, So that was my first impression.
Awesome.
It was relaxed. The salad was great. The people were nice and friendly. There was nothing. It was like cool. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. A step back in time.
Yeah.
Into a point. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was my same experience with the Crescent. Every time I've gone, you kind of hype yourself up, going, okay, this is going to be like one of those shows that I like to watch on TV, and you just go in and it's like a Holiday Inn. Like it feels just like a hotel. It doesn't feel like anything, even walking the halls. So, the halls. Did you experience the floor phenomenon?
The floors are weird. Yeah. Now you mentioned it. Looking back, the floors are weird. I got pictures of the hallways.
Yep.
So that was pretty unique. But again, too, it's that old school.
Right.
Old school.
Yeah.
Like over 100 years old.
Yeah. It's a wooden building.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not made of metal like most hotels are. Yeah. It's a wooden building. So
they use keys.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is no card.
Nope.
No card, nothing. They use keys.
Physical.
So when they handed me the key, I got excited. I was like, oh my gosh. And she was smiling the whole entire time. She goes, that's how we do it here. Now, in the morning, though, they did have a tray out with disinfectant and stuff like that. So they would put people's keys in there to disinfect the keys and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So for you guys that worry about kind of stuff like that, they are making sure the keys are clean. You're not Yeah, so when you get the key, you're not going to get somebody else's germs.
Right.
But yeah, it was a real cool experience. I mean, yeah, and I highly recommend if you get a chance to go. I mean, just for the history alone.
Yeah.
You know, the history of the location is fascinating. You know, because not just the, you know, the dark side of it, the people died in the hospital and, you know, the BS cure for cancer, though, but the history of it, how they made it to a girls' dormitory, you know, a women's college and stuff. And they had the one that committed a suicide or was pushed, you know, and actually the people there have theories. They really do. There's actually a police report from Eureka Springs where a cop on the other side of, so it's all hilly there.
Yes.
So when you're on the hill and right across you got another valley.
Okay.
You got a little valley in between you, and a cop was patrolling across from the Crescent and saw somebody in white jump or fall from the 4th floor. Calls it in, and he goes flying over there. So Eureka Springs PD shows up, and they're scouring the grounds for a ghost.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You know, so I mean, and I'm going, well, if you're from Eureka, don't you think you would know that? But again, too, the other cop was, you know, doing his due diligence and making sure that it wasn't a copycat or somebody was actually really, but it was real enough for him to call it in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of backed that. But yeah, they have their own theories on it. Of, you know, the young lady, they don't think it was a suicide. I think it was a suicide. You know, they were, the reason why, because they were like, well, you know, they think there was an unplanned pregnancy.
Right.
And they were like, well, there's no way the boys were getting here or not. Well, the funny part is, so they actually figured out to where they would lower baskets down with their laundry, these baskets, and it would be big enough to put a person in.
Okay.
But shockingly enough, like the headmaster saw one of the baskets at night being raised and lowered, emptied, and he goes, well, what happened? So he climbed into one, and they raised them up. The girls did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the young ladies who were doing it got in trouble, obviously, and he caught a young man inside and stuff like that. So that's what they were doing. They were lowering their laundry baskets down to have these young men meet them
That's crazy.
in their rooms. Yeah.
That's kind of neat, though.
Yeah.
So there's allegedly a rumor of a walled-off room somewhere. Me and Todd
Right.
were looking for it.
Right.
We're looking at the windows and trying to, you know, we were trying to go, like, wouldn't it be cool if we found it? I was like, yeah, it would be cool. But, you know, we couldn't. We thought it was, like, beside our room. I was like, that'd be too ironic. You know, we got the hidden rooms. Like, no. But, you know, who knows? I know that much. I know I snapped a lot of pictures. Of course, all the pictures you guys will be posted up. Please go through them and look at them. Tell us what you see. I think I only caught the one thing in the picture, to be honest with you. I don't think I caught anything else. So, which is fine. I mean, I fully did not expect to catch anything. I really did not.
Right.
Because, again, the tour started off blah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, you know, again, you're hyped up for it.
Sure.
Once we're on the second floor, it's when I started getting touched. And I was like, okay. And then even down the basement, you know, heard the sound, not knowing that we caught that image. And again, so the whole tour, so by the time I was done and saw the apparition in the crystal room, I wasn't thinking any of that at all. My first thought was, it was the girls outside the room playing.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it wasn't.
Yeah.
What else you got for me? You want to say? You want to send me Eureka? You want to send me Crescent? You want other questions about any of my other encounters you want to ask me?
Well, we know about the AHA.
Yeah, that's been
We've
killed.
Heard about the AHA.
Yeah, that's been killed. That's on numerous shows.
Yeah, we've heard quite a bit about your Utah experiences in the.
The house on Porter Street.
Yep. Yep. Let's see, is there anything we haven't touched on in episodes, or he hasn't touched on in episodes, Jacob? Trying to think, because we know about the Top Hat Man.
Yep.
You've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked about what you believe, if I remember correctly, is a handprint.
Yeah, at
Yep.
Hellhole.
Yep.
At Hellhole Lake.
Yep.
Yep.
We talked about you getting zapped.
Yep.
You were there.
I was there.
Both of you were there.
We were.
Yeah, we were. What else?
You know, I still debate on that one.
Are we talking about the what?
Area 1.
Era 1.
That
yeah.
too, but when you went searching for Sasquatch, someone running in behind you.
We can't talk about that.
Can't talk about that yet.
Hasn't aired. Hasn't aired.
Oh,
If you
crap,
didn't know,
we
our
can't talk
fearless
about
leader
that.
is going to be on a episode of Searching for Sasquatch with Jason Kinsey. We're not sure when it's going to air yet.
Yeah.
You know, the TV magic has to happen before it airs.
Yeah, I'll shut up about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we didn't bring it up.
Yeah.
That's why we don't bring it up.
Yeah.
So,
My
and
fault.
there's not an NDA about it.
Yeah.
But I want people to be able to watch the show because for what you were referring to, they don't know the camera was on me. They don't know if the camera was recording.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so when the episode airs, if it's not on there, then I will talk about it.
Yeah.
If it's on there, I will talk about it. So no matter what, I'll talk about it. You know, I'm just waiting for Jason to get it all fully edited. I know he's been busy.
He has been busy. He's been in a lot of different places.
He's been all over the planet. Well, the country. Yeah, well, North America, because he lives in Canada. So, yeah, everywhere. Yeah. So what do y'all think? 100 episodes. Think we do 100 more?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah.
Think so?
Yep.
Yeah.
Think so?
Should we do 100 more?
We have like a little live audience hanging out with us. You guys want to come over and say hi real quick? Want to come over and say hi? Here, you jump over. You take over where your dad's at, and you take over where Jacob's at. Yeah, we're gonna do something a little different for you guys. If you want to have the headphones on so you can hear, if you want. Oh, you do want to have the headphones on. That's what I'm talking about. So we are now going to turn the interview over to two of our fans, and I will let you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we will start with ladies first. So you want to lean forward to the microphone? Okay. Introduce yourself. Say hi.
Hi.
You got to speak up.
Yeah, and
Hi. I'm Ellie.
so we got Miss Ellie, and
Hello, I'm Elijah.
you were just on the live show.
Yeah.
All right, so what questions y'all have about the Crescent or anything? This is y'all show. Ellie's like, you just put me on the spot. Ghost, Bigfoot, whatever you want.
Chupacabra, anything you can think of.
I think the Chupacabra is actually a Tasmanian tiger. They crossbred with some like coyotes and stuff. All right, Elijah, what do you have?
Nothing.
Nothing? Y'all are cute. I know, we put y'all on the spot. So, but we are joined, though, with these lovely kids. And as I was saying on the live show earlier today, we do want to get the kids in the woods. Because I know that Ellie goes hunting with her father all the time. And I know that she's a big proponent of the woods. And she loves going out there. And she knows about Area 1 and Area 2. And she was upset that, am I right, that Dad didn't take you out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't see you shaking your head. That's okay, though. Sammy, when she wanted to do the episode, she was real shy at first. We kind of had to coach her along a little bit to get her to open up. But once she started, it was like a floodgate. I had to do the same thing for the other one, too, when we did the Stanley Hotel. Had to kickstart her and Jensen to get going. You had your hand up.
Do you know if Dogman was there?
Where? At the Crescent?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't see any fleas or ticks, so there's a possibility if he had his collar on. I don't know. I mean, Dogman may be there, and so the area is actually really the woods are really kind of thick, and there's a lot of other encounters that take place up in that part. They had the Ozark Howler that that goes on there, and I think the Ozark Howler could be maybe tied in with the Dogman. So yeah, good question. Did she love it when I did this to you guys? Ellie's like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. You are so red. I am so sorry for embarrassing you. But no, you guys, we were joined by these cute kids. I want to give them a chance. They're sitting here listening everywhere. I know you got questions. Well, ask. Ask away. That's all right. We won't embarrass them any much further. Yes, but I do want to tell y'all thank you very much for supporting the show for the past 100 episodes. I am looking forward to the next 100. This year we do have a lot of encounters that we're going on, expeditions that we're doing. Coming up to Spirits is going to be linking up with us. I'm going up to Kansas City to do some investigating with them. JD is going to come down here and bring some equipment with him.
Awesome.
So we'll be able to film. He wants to, film us out in the woods, stuff like that, getting ready on our stuff. Of course, right now, you guys, if you paying attention to the live shows or whatnot. We're loading up all the interviews that we can because I'm in the process of moving, and we won't be recording again probably for a good month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, if you guys definitely have had an encounter and you want to come on the show, email us, drunkencryptids@gmail.com. Shoot us messages on our social media platforms. We do appreciate the support. We appreciate everything you guys have done for us out there. But, yeah, let us know what you guys see in the pictures. Let us know what you guys hear. Let us know what you're seeing. And keep the comments coming. Please liking and sharing it, the show, you guys. It does help us out in the algorithm. So we do appreciate that. And until next time, keep squatching.
I can do